100 days in a Minecraft SMP. If this video gets 20 likes and I reach 130 subscribers, I'll release 200 days. Enjoy the video. Day 1, I come to in a desert with no knowledge of what's around me, no knowledge of what I'm gonna do, and just take down my coordinates. I immediately scope the landscape just to see, what's around, see if there's any good resources, and I find absolutely nothing. There's the Badlands next to a desert, and I don't see anything in the distance at all. And so I decided to go into the Badlands because at least they have mine shafts where you can get some wood from. And maybe something else is over here. I pick up all the rails in my way because I'm gonna need them eventually, and rails are pretty expensive. Same with fences. If I ever want to have animals, I'm gonna need fences. I do find some loot along the way, and obviously they have some golden apples and powered rails, which are all going to be helpful in the future. I found a friend, and I didn't stick around to learn his name. I'm assuming it was Carl. I build my first tool, which is a wooden axe, because you can use it to fight and chop down things. It becomes night and I miss the water, but I decide to spend the night in the water because there's fish to eat and less mobs. I do find an underwater cavern that I decide to stay in over the night because it seems like a safer option than just freely going in the water with the drowns and running around up top at night with everything else. I do make a wooden pickaxe and intend to try to find some stone to make some stone tools throughout the night. I mined throughout the whole night while my pickaxe broke and found no stone, only terracotta, so yeah, I wasted the last of my wood. I decide that I'm not going to wait for morning because I ran out of resources and things to do, and I'm just gonna go run around and look for stuff. Lo and behold, I found a village, which I'm hoping has wood so I can build some more stuff, and hoping it has hay, which most villages now do, so I can have some food because I am dying of starvation. I accidentally set down a powered rail, trying to steal this guy's bed, close the door so no one hears him scream, and I steal his bed as he watches me sleep from atop me. I then rob him, but I do leave him his cactus in the end, which I think I should be commended for. I do steal their only source of food in the village too, because I'm assuming they're not going to eat their 2 cows and be left with no milk. I do head on my way, promising that I will return the favor eventually, probably not going to be. I find some stone, finally, with some coal and gold, and also not so friendly people, so I block myself off and finally get some stone to make stone tools. It's never taken me so long to hit the Stone Age. I gather the coal and oh geez, it's falling directly down. Okay, and then I make a stone axe so I can more efficiently get the only wood around, which is dark oak planks. I then decide that this is not worth it, and I'm gonna go venture off to find a different biome and hopefully find some loot along the way. I totally missed the boat and set sail. Sunken nether portals seem to be pretty common in 1.19, and so are sunken ships for some reason. I sail for a long time, only to find more desert for the longest time, and I've still not found anything, except more sunken portals. I finally see a patch of green and have some hope glimmer through my eyes. And then I see a jungle to my left, and thank God I can finally have a good source of wood. It's also a mangrove swamp apparently, which are kind of useless because it's so hard to get that wood. Mangrove swamps are really only good for frogs. I also find, finally, some decent food, but my inventory is full because I have nowhere to put any of my stuff because I don't have a home. Is this how hobos feel? I found Frostwalker at one of the sunken nether portals, by the way, just so you don't get scared when you see ice appearing out of nowhere. Even though it's not shown every time, just be aware that every time you see an animal on my screen, I did go up and slaughter it for my own benefit. I use my Frostwalker to get to the sunken ship, and as soon as I'm done looting it, I set sail because I was not going to stay in a mangrove swamp. I do find an ocean monument and elect that a different time would be better than now to see what's inside. It is day 3 now too. I find acacia and a forest, which I did take the coordinates down to so I could remember. Also, these pigs on their screen right now got slaughtered on day 4. I find an acacia village, and I frostwalk my way over there. I found a friend that I'm sure will stick around for the rest of the video. An abandoned nether portal with some more loot. I'm going to be wearing gold for a good portion of this video. I do find a outpost that I take the coordinates down to, and suddenly it's day 20 because I had to go do something, and it is an SMP, so people kept playing while I was gone. I kidnap a cow from its habitat because I wanted to plan on breeding it and either eating it or making it breed with its descendants and eating them. I do end up bringing the cow back to spawn because I really thought making something cool at spawn would be the best way to go about a SMP world. I finally build a chest to put my stuff in and a furnace to cook everything in so I can actually have some decent food instead of just eating raw meat and bread. I build a set of iron tools for the first time just so I can stop being a poor and place my bed. I go back to the village to make sure I actually robbed them completely and steal more of their food source. I also breed their cows because I figured it was easier to breed these cows and then bring them over 100 blocks or so than sail 1,000 blocks. I also forgot to get dirt while I was away, and I'm very lucky that this was the only dirt in the area. I also stole 2 other cats because that one cat I said would last the rest of the video, and then I made them have intercourse because I wanted to see a cute little baby cat. I placed dirt to plant some saplings around my base, and then I placed cobblestone where I spawned in to commemorate it. I wanted to build the structure out of sandstone, so I go find a hill and dig out some sandstone. With the loot I found from all those portals and the shipwrecks, I started building my first nether portal, which I wanted to be the centerpiece for the house. I like building structures that you can enter and exit from all sides of. I don't like building things that are off-center or uneven. And I like double doors, so I typically do even-numbered structures. I do plan on making it a tower, so it's gonna have multiple levels. I'm probably just gonna keep going up, to be honest. I make my first farm, so I can actually not starve to death in the long run, and I don't have to continuously slaughter new animals and sail out to find them. But I only have 1 carrot at the moment. I go and get some water from this infinite water source to make an infinite water source, and I freeze it immediately with my frostwalker boots. And then I start on a mine, and the way I build this mine I'll explain more in depth in a bit, but it's my favorite way to build a mine, and I think it's the best and most, maybe not the most efficient, but the most organized. I do run into water in every single mine I dig here because, you know, we're next to an ocean. I go set sail again because we are in a desert and I did not get any jungle wood or jungle saplings, and I want to stay within the building blocks of a desert village, so jungle wood is the wood we're going to use for the house. I expand my farm a bit and plant some wheat so I can actually breed the cows when they get here, and then continue on with my mine. I label each mine, so basically the diamond and redstone mine go all the way down to, what is it, -59 or -56, something like that, and that mine is directly connected to the up elevator, and then all the other mines, as you can see, are placed around the room, and those go down to the optimal levels for their resources. You fall into a block of water, you fall into a room that is connected to the elevator that goes all the way down, and so you use one up elevator for all the mines, but each one has their own down elevator that goes to the optimal level for the resource you're trying to get. And the way to keep the water out of the redstone and diamond shaft is signs. Water won't go where signs are for some reason. I think it's scared of it. It's day 32 now, as I'm building this, so we are progressing pretty good. I know a lot of people at this point would just build down to get diamonds and iron and stuff, but I really want to make this look good. It is my first actual vanilla world that's mine, so I want to make sure we do things right the first time. Thank God I'm finding more iron as I'm doing this because this is taking a lot of iron tools. I think the biggest pain while doing this time was having to dig through water every single time. And on that day 34, we finish it. And yeah, this is the bottom of the diamond mine. There will be soul sand there, so it shoots you up, but for now I can just swim. I expand my farm a bit more because I am continuously getting low on food and carrots just aren't cutting it. I decide to go into the nether for the first time. I start digging out some space, put down some sandstone, and to protect my nether portal, create the first nether hub. So I noticed when digging the copper mine that it was 90% sandstone, so that's probably where I'm gonna get sandstone for a while for all of my builds here. For nether hubs, I do a 3-high square, so you can build out a highway on any 4 of the sides and endermen cannot spawn inside. Sandstone isn't the best for explosions, but I do like making my nether hubs out of what biome they do spawn in. So other nether hubs are going to be made out of other things, whatever biome it is, and the stronghold one's made out of stone bricks. But sandstone, it's kind of just going to have to deal with it. Hopefully no explosions get shot this way, but if they do, it's easy to repair. Sandstone's not a hard block to mine. And I leave some spots open for the 4-way nether portal I like to make, and then I mine open the door. I did find diamonds when I was making the diamond and redstone mine, and there was a lava lake next to the village, and so that's where I've been getting the obsidian, by the way. I also planted some sugarcane. I want to be ready for whenever I want to enchant things, get some books, trade with villagers, whatnot. And usually when you start planting sugarcane, when you're trying to do that stuff, it's really annoying. So I wanted to get a head start. And this sugarcane farm gets pretty big eventually. I head back into the nether because I want to get soul sand for my elevator. So bridge over just to the other side and hopefully don't fall off. I start digging, and what do you know, this is the luckiest you'll ever see me. This moment is the highlight of my Minecraft career. I've never been this lucky in my life. I never find anything like this, so this was crazy. It's also day 49, so I do get ancient debris before day 50. I immediately go back into the portal into safety so I don't immediately lose my ancient debris, and I hit the hay, making this day 50. Day 50, I decided to further expand my base, making a 3rd floor and raise the walls a little bit. I then decided the 3rd floor was going to be farmland, at least for the most part. So I started just placing down some dirt and dealing with how I'm going to lay it out after. I then decided I'm going to make an entity cramming cow farm on the 3rd floor as well. So it'll be like the farm and the animals. I then decided I was going to make a staircase inside going up to get the animals there and maybe just use that as the staircase, but it did end up taking up a lot of space, so I decided to just take it down. I then decided to make a outdoor staircase to bring the animals up and probably keep to just have access and be able to bring more stuff up, maybe villagers later on. I then frostwalked my way over to the village to bring the cows back home. Went from 2 to 5 cows, so I visited the village up to 3 times and braided them each time. Had little trouble getting them home. I did lose 2 stragglers along the way, but I'm pretty sure they're right outside. I did make the rookie mistake of not putting a trap door down, and so they didn't want to walk. So I just pushed the baby one in and tried to get the other 2 into position to push them in too. They were being a little stubborn, but eventually I got around to getting them in. I also went and got the stragglers and pushed them into the death hole as well. I then flooded them in there so the beef is nice and juicy when I want to eat it. I decided the first death hole worked so well that I can make another one. I found my next victim for my death hole number 2. I didn't know rabbits were so slow when they followed you though, because they're so fast when you need them. It's like insufferably slow. This is the slowest animal in the game. I found some more victims of oppression and got them to walk in on their own. I then figured out a good layout for the farm. I do want to be able to walk over without trampling. I tried a dirt pathway across the water, but a bridge ended up working out better. I then went and destroyed all the farmland from downstairs because I don't know what I want to do with outside yet, but I know it's not farmland. I never really used cactuses, but I've also never built a cactus farm myself, so I just wanted to give it a try. Just put a space in the corner for a cactus farm. I did have a lot of trouble with the layout because I didn't know exactly how cactuses work, but eventually I did figure it out, and it's pretty small. I then went and made the 4th floor, and I started on a platform outside where I plan to make my tree farm. Now with the tree farm, I'm having major issues with really how to do it. There's not a good tree farm in Minecraft yet. There's not a good automatic one. It's always manual or you don't get the drops. So I ended up going with a glass one for the first one, but I really didn't like how it looked or worked. It didn't seem like the saplings were growing too good, so I decided to figure it out later. For days 64 to 66, I did a lot of mining to get enough resources to hold me over for a while. I then went into the nether to start a nether highway. I make all my nether structures out of blackstone because I just think it looks really good. I like making things out of the environment they're in. I also built a enchantment chamber above my nether hub, also out of blackstone, and obviously the floor is the sandstone of the nether hub. Continuing on with my highway, this gives me anxiety, major anxiety. Day 69, nice. Still continuing on my highway. I start building the walls around the highway just so, you don't fall off. I found my wife's portal, which is next to a bastion. It's basically inside a bastion. My wife really hasn't built a house. She's just camping out in a villager's house in an acacia village she found. She did build this little iron farm. It's not great because she did it by memory, and I'm sure she wouldn't miss this stack and a half of iron. I mean, Come on, you got an iron farm. Day 71, I mined blackstone out of the top of the bastion. I start at the top and work down. We did clear a lot of the bastion already, but you still want to be safe. I did finish putting up a lot of the walls. I build these specifically for ice whenever I do get ice, which means I need silk touch, which means I need villagers. So day 72, I started building my villager housing. But yeah, you do too high with a trap door and they can't escape. I mean, they can leave whenever they want, of course. There's no escaping. It's their house, not a slave hole, of course. I then build out the wall and make a stairway down to put the rails on. And this will go all the way to the village and into the slave holes. I then start making my way to the village with the rails. I'm lucky that I spawned next to Badlands because I would not have enough resources to make all of these rails otherwise. I pretty much build around everything because I don't want to waste rails. I don't want to be doing turns. Then I build a bridge over the lake, and surprisingly, the village was just a straight line from my house. I wasn't expecting that. I do spend a few days in a mine shaft collecting more resources and rails because I ran out. I finally build my way up to the village, and it's time to find some victims. Before I can offer people salvation away from the village, I do need to make some powered rails so the rails can actually work and the villagers don't get stuck in the middle of nowhere. Test number 1, let's see how this goes. And so close. Wait. Oh, okay. All right, well, clearly we need more powered rails. Test number 2. And up. And no, we just didn't make it. All right, move you down a little bit. Test number 3. And we did it. Good to go. I then finish placing powered rails throughout the track just to make sure they can get all the way there, and then I do the final test. All the way. So I take my minecart all the way back to the village and go look for a victim. Someone to... whatever. With some light negotiating, I convinced this man to get in my boat and let me sleep in his bed for the night. I asked him how his sleep in the boat was. He said it was amazing, of course. What else would it be? And then we head on... okay. And then the boat breaks on a cactus because cactus beats boat, apparently. I asked this man to get back in the boat. I proclaimed it was a misunderstanding. I didn't mean to break the boat on the cactus. I show him my rage at the cactus by punching it and then tell him to get back in the boat. And he eventually sees that I am mad at the cactus and gets back in the boat. I almost lose my minecart. I then try to get him in the minecart, but realize you can't place a minecart on anything but rails, and so I have to try to get him back in the boat for a third time. After some smooth talk, I was able to get him back in the boat and bring him all the way back to try to figure out how I'm going to do this. I end up thinking to just build a barrier around him, and then his friend also gets in the boat. And I guess he heard my smooth talk from across the way and decided he wanted to join. I complete the barrier, break the boat, and then push the villager into the cart. It doesn't work, and so I push the cart into the villager instead. That worked like a charm. I did make a mistake designing these. There's too much room. I wanted him to kind of just stand there, but he jumped on top of his lectern, so I'm gonna have to redesign it. I did find that if I just close up the back and place the lectern down, he just stands there and does nothing. So I figure that's the best way to do things. I then prepare the next slave hole for the next slave. I mean, you get it, you understand. And then I head back to the village to find my next victim. He hops in the minecart, no problem, assuming that his friend is okay. What a mistake to make. And then I push him on his way to bondage. I then place a minecart down and decide I'm going to find another victim before I go and deal with that guy. I get my victim in the boat, put the minecart down, build up the wall, and then leave him there until I can get back to change the rails. I broke the minecart and the villager should be out, and he's gone. I'm assuming he is just outside behind, but he doesn't seem to be. I remember that I accidentally left a hole when designing the thing and go to check to see if he accidentally slipped into that hole. And yes, that's exactly what happened. I then spend my day creating more slave holes to put more slaves into. He was fine, he was just chilling, so I break down the barrier and send him on his way. You're gonna love your new life, little buddy. And then I set out to find a new, oh, hey, this guy just wandered into the boat. Might as well get him in the cage. For the remaining villagers, I ring the bell to get them in their houses to more easily convince them to come with me. As you can see here, my negotiation tactics are far supreme to anything they've seen before, so they are head over heels to come with me. They definitely are not fearing for their life right now. Again, he just willingly hops into the minecart, no issues, and I get him home into his glass tank where I can observe them do things. So I spent this day figuring out the basics of redstone, trying to make sandstone torches, and failing. I did eventually get a dispenser to work though, and this is to dispense out food for the villagers, and so they love each other very much and create children. I spent the next few days rolling villagers, trying to get them to give me good enchantments. I'm not going to settle for anything less than the max, because the more you enchant something, the more expensive it gets, and then eventually you cannot max out the gear you're trying to max. But this guy gave me Respiration 3, which I really like on my helmet. It's not something I usually try to get first, and then this guy gave me Thorns 3, which is great. So I definitely wanted to lock that guy in, but did not have enough emeralds or books to do that. But the next guy gave me Mending, and he also bought paper. So I went sugarcane farming, came back with some paper, got enough emeralds for the Thorns guy, and then locked in the Thorns guy. So now I have Respiration 3, Mending, and Thorns 3, which are 3 really good books. I continue to feed the villagers, once in a while, and they end up loving each other. Probably a little too much. I then decide that my wheat farm is not enough to sustain not only me and the villagers and the cows. So I start building a second floor inside the second floor, but it turns out to be a little logistical nightmare at first. I do end up figuring it out, and it's fully functional, adds a lot of space, and allows me to walk downstairs. So what more could you ask for? I then collected my first homegrown villager and put him in his custom slave hole. Then I collected my second homegrown villager and put him in his custom slave hole. Then I did some tree mining. This tree farm is definitely not going to work. I'm losing saplings. I'm not getting many saplings from these jungle trees, and when I'm trying to build most things out of jungle wood, it's not going to work out. I did try a different design for the second tree farm, hoping it would give more room for the trees to, grow better, but I'm not having high hopes. I'm probably just going to have to redo all the tree farms. I then got bored and wanted to find a nether fortress so I could beat the dragon soon. Probably a little too soon for doing this, but I was excited. I get out into searching. I fail at some, what are these, MLGs? Then a piglin jumps out of absolutely nowhere, and he violently penetrates my body non-consensually. And that is 100 days on my SMP, my first vanilla survival world, and I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see how things turn out after this and want to see up to 200 days, if this video gets 20 likes and I reach 130 subscribers, I will do it. Thanks for watching. for the Thorns guy and then locked in the Thorns guy. So now I have Respiration 3, Mending, and Thorns 3, which are 3 really good books. I continue to feed the villagers, you know, once in a while, and they end up loving each other. Probably a little too much. I then decide that my wheat farm is not enough to sustain not only me and the villagers and the cows. So I start building a second floor inside the second floor, but it turns out to be a little logistical nightmare at first. I do end up figuring it out, and it's fully functional, adds a lot of space, and allows me to walk downstairs. So what more could you ask for? I then collected my first homegrown villager and put him in his custom slave hole. Then I collected my second homegrown villager and put him in his custom slave hole. Then I did some tree mining. This tree farm is definitely not going to work. I'm losing saplings. I'm not getting many saplings from these jungle trees, and when I'm trying to build most things out of jungle wood, it's not going to work out. I did try a different design for the second tree farm, hoping it would give more room for the trees to, you know, grow better, but I'm not having high hopes. I'm probably just going to have to redo all the tree farms. I then got bored and wanted to find a nether fortress so I could beat the dragon soon. Probably a little too soon for doing this, but I was excited. I get out into searching. I fail at some, what are these, MLGs? Then a piglin jumps out of absolutely nowhere and he violently penetrates my body non-consensually. And that is 100 days on my SMP, my first vanilla survival world, and I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see how things turn out after this and want to see up to 200 days, if this video gets 20 likes and I reach 130 subscribers, I will do it. Thanks for watching.